Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and we're going to make a really fun card today. It's kind of burning up in my hand even as we speak, and we're going to look at a way to super personalize the envelope that it's going to sit in. Here, I've got the envelope. If I pull this out, you'll see that this is a card, a really good match, and I've mimicked the look of a pack of matches so that it's going to be from Richard and Allison, and here is the personalization of the envelope that the card came out of. I'm using one of their wedding photos. This could be inside, this could be how you send a thank you for a wedding gift. This could be the invitation for an anniversary party for Allison and Richard. Because I chose a wedding photo, it dictates the theme of the card in which that will sit inside the envelope. We're going to look at how easy it is to make the card and then how fun it is to personalize the envelope so that it really goes with the card that you're sending. In this case, wedding themes, but we're going to see other options at the end. So in order to start, let's look at making this photo envelope. You want to start, and the only red envelope that I had was not the same size, so it's not going to be identical in size, but the theme will still work. I've taken a piece of vellum and I've trimmed it so that it will sit, and I slide it right inside my envelope. And I want it to, when I have it all the way seated into the envelope, you can see that I've used the glue areas of the envelope as my guide for where to trim, because you want the glue still to be able to function. So I've marked with a pencil that this is going to be the viewing area. I want the important part of the photo to show and be featured in this section. So the vellum that sits in the envelope that leaves the glue exposed, this is my pattern that I then use. I'll bring this up and show you. I just made a color copy of Allison and Richard, one of their wedding photos. I've laid it down. I blew up the photo until it was a good size that fit for this envelope. And normally I would have just traced around it with a pencil because I don't want the marks to show, but I wanted you to see. I can see with my pencil lines, this is the important part. I want this to show. I've gone ahead and I've traced with a white pen so that you can see. And now I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to cut out the photo in the envelope shape. Fight me. So when you've cut out from the pattern, you've cut out the photo, let's just see, make sure that it will slide inside the envelope. I'm going to go ahead and slide it all the way in, make sure that it goes all the way in. I want to make sure that my glue is exposed. Here is where I've learned, if I put adhesive, if I pull this out and put adhesive on the whole thing, this fold line wants to bubble. It doesn't work well and it mars the photo. You only want adhesive on the top section to the fold line. So I'm not even going to take this all the way out. I'm just going to place adhesive on the top section. I want to be sure and clear the fold, so I'm only going to go like to here. Place my adhesive, slide this back in, and make sure that I have it right in the center, and then go ahead and press down. Now, since the bottom isn't fastened to the envelope, it can slide as you open and close this envelope. So when I go back and I fold on the envelope fold line, it's not going to buckle in an unattractive way. That's going to give you the photo envelope, which is super personal. In order to create the card, now because I had a different size envelope, that means my card is a little bit different size, but you want to set it so that it will fit inside your envelope once it's folded. So it's going to fold in half, make sure it's going to fit. Yeah, so it's going to slide inside. And then in order to create the look of the matchbook, here's what well, actually, let's decorate the card first. I had a band along the top with just black paper. Remember, you're going to put more adhesive than me. So this will line up with the top of the card. And then I had a little piece of patterned paper just for nice design. That's a a pink print. And for some reason, you know how you go through stages right now? I'm just loving the pink and red combination. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. Now I want to create the matchbook that's going to go on top. So what I've done is, it's a little smaller than this one because my card is a little smaller in order to fit inside the smaller envelope that I had. Remember, I always say you start with the envelope and then you make everything fit, because you don't want to have to make an envelope from scratch. What you'll do is take a base that mimics, it's just a small rectangle that mimics the look of a matchbook. And then in order to layer the pieces over the top, I've got, out of the same cardstock, a double thickness of a little strip at the bottom that I'm going to fasten, and then a double thickness of each of these pieces, just little rectangular strips that look like they could be matches. And because they're out of the same cardstock, you know what, the smartest thing is go from the outside edges, then you can be sure that you'll have it sort of evenly spaced. So let's do this one. Before I press them all down, I'll make sure that they look spaced pretty well. Yeah, the spacing is pretty good. So I'm just tucking the rectangles right against that bottom edge. There's, as you know, on the bottom of a matchbook, there's always that striking element. So I've just taken a black strip of paper that's going to mimic the look of that sandpaper or whatever it is that's black on the bottom of a matchbook, and attach it onto the band and trim off the excess. And then, just to make it more themed for the wedding or the anniversary, I've added, instead of just colored tips to the matches, I'm going to use hearts. Now these are little hearts, and if I try to hold this down and put adhesive, it's tricky. So if you haven't seen me do this before, I'm going to peel off this sticky note, and then here's the sticky part of it. I'm going to have a couple of my hearts facing one direction and a couple facing the other direction, but notice I'm using the sticky part of the note to hold it. So now I just hold the sticky note while I run my adhesive over. And because the sticky note is removable, it's easy enough to just pull it off and go ahead and attach these to the top of the matches. So if I have them going different directions, oop, that's going to need to be, yeah, red, pink, red, pink. I have to think. So I'll turn this one over and have a couple going that direction and a couple going the other direction, just for some fun and variety. So that creates the look of the matches, and then I'm going to just attach this right onto the card itself. And I just want it spaced in the middle. I think it's important that it overlap both elements, but I want it to look like it's in the middle of the card. So when you think it's pretty straight, for some reason I can never do straight upside down, then go ahead and place it in position. And then I like, as you know, to use handwriting because I think it makes it more personal. So to indicate that Allison and Richard are a really good match, I'm just going to write a really, L-L-Y, in white, and then in black down here, I think I'll print good, G-O-O-D. I make more spelling errors when I'm focusing on how the letters look rather than how to spell them. So, and then I think I'll handwrite match, M-A-T-C-H. So you add those details, and then inside, depending on if this is a thank you note for a wedding gift, inside is where you would write your thank you. If it's an invitation to an anniversary party, inside is where you put that information. So simple, easy to do, and when you slide this back into the envelope, it just makes it so personal. So this one is themed for a wedding. Remember I mentioned that it's easy to change the theme just by changing the theme of the photos. So if you look here, this is Addison when she was a baby. This would be great as the envelope for a baby shower invitation or a thank you for a baby gift. This was her photo from her first Christmas. So wouldn't it be fun to use a photo liner for your Christmas card envelope? And then if you have something like, oh, let's say an invitation to an award banquet for a sports team, this would be cool for that. You know, this card and photo envelope, it may just be the perfect match.